Some licensed games barge in like a rampaging T-Rex, others skitter around your ankles like hungry Compsognathus. Ocean Software's Jurassic Park for MS-DOS somehow does both, depending on whether you're wrestling the 3D raptor corridors or trudging across jungle screens stuffed with pixel ferns. Is it bizarre or classical? Yes, it's a shapeshifter. Underrated or overrated? Depends whether you played it before Doom melted your CRT. Fundamental or disposable? Try ignoring it if you were 13 when Spielberg's film hit cinemas, and the only way to hear that bone-shaking roar again was via an ad-lib card. Jurassic Park is an earnest, occasionally brilliant, frequently maddening hybrid that makes you gather dinosaur eggs the way the IRS gathers receipts. Relentlessly, obsessively, without offering spending privileges. 30-plus years on, it remains equal parts survival thriller and cautionary tale about what happens when Hollywood hands a Manchester dev team a blockbuster license and a calendar packed tighter than a raptor pen. Historical context: Ocean Software was the undisputed monarch of late 80s and early 90s movie tie-ins. RoboCop, Batman, the movie, Hook, Addams Family. So Universal Pictures naturally phoned them when Jurassic Park needed an interactive counterpart. According to producer Gary Bracey, the ink dried in November 1992, leaving barely 11 months to hit the UK merchandise window. The resulting sprint involved roughly a baker's dozen developers, a fax machine that never slept, and weekly feedback from Amblin that reportedly included Steven Spielberg's edict: no cartoony dinosaur slaying, authenticity first. Release timing, as ever, is a raptor with an agenda. PAL Territories received the DOS and Amiga versions in October 1993, neatly piggybacking the film's VHS release. North America, however, is murkier. Moby Games lists a US DOS SKU late in 1993, while contemporary magazines and several retail circulars point to an early to mid 1994 rollout handled by Ocean of America. The delay hardly mattered. By then, ID Software had unleashed Doom, Microprose had birthed XCOM, and PC gamers had one foot in the CD-ROM future. Jurassic Park's sprite forests and 256 color interiors felt almost quaint next to BFG-delivered giblets. I first encountered the demo on an electronics boutique display sandwiched between SimCity 2000 pre-orders and clearance bins of Turrican 2. The salesman leaned in. Spielberg made sure they kept it realistic. No Super Mario antics. My arcade-hardened brain translated that as, maybe not much fun, but the promise of stalking a raptor in first-person stereo was irresistible. Besides, Ocean's pedigree mattered. RoboCop on the Amiga had devoured my allowance. Surely dinosaurs would do the same. Mid-1993 gaming culture was genre soup. On consoles, top-down shooters like the Chaos Engine proved isometric carnage sold. FPS experimentation on PC was sprinting from Catacomb 3D toward Doom. Ocean split the difference, grafting an overhead adventure onto bite-sized Wolfenstein corridors. Hybrid design wasn't rare. See Ultima Underworld flirting with immersive sims, but few hybrids were built under a licensed microscope quite this tight. Mechanics: Jurassic Park opened seconds after the film's T-Rex breakout. Crashed Explorer, Pouring Rain, Grant Alone in mud-slick darkness. Outdoors, the camera floats at a 3/4 tilt, rendering Isla Nublar as an 8-zone sprawl of palms, rivers, and electrified fences. The pixel art, all lush greens and dappled shadows, still charms, until you realize the foliage patterns repeat like Jurassic wallpaper. Each zone hides computer terminals, ID cards, and, here comes the motif, raptor eggs. These eggs are neither money nor ammo. They're mandatory collectibles the park's security system demands before opening the next gate. Hoard enough, swipe the access card, move on. No in-game shop, no barter, just existential Easter hunting enforced by InGen's least ergonomic UX designer. Combat Outdoors is an exercise in plausible non-lethality. Your default tranquilizer rifle fires slow darts. Later, gas grenades and a cattle prod expand the toolbox, but Spielberg's no-blood rule means most dinos collapse rather than explode. Compsognathus nibble at your legs like NES controller cables. Dilophosaurus spit fans across the screen in a neon parabola, momentarily blotting vision. Ankylosaurs lumber through narrow passes, invulnerable and uninterested unless you insist on selfie proximity. Get careless, and a T-Rex head bursts from the tree line in a Mode 7 style scaling roar that still jolts me in 2025 DOSBOX. Enter a building and the perspective slams into claustrophobic first person. The viewport, letterboxed to preserve frame rate, pushes VGA hardware to its limit. Textures tile, doors glide on silent hinges. Raptor footsteps echo with a sound blaster TLK. Mouse strafes, keyboard turns, flashlight batteries drain. Somewhere down the hall, motion sensor blips raise your heart rate like Alien's tracker. Ocean didn't invent survival horror. Infograms alone in the dark beat them by a year. But the sensation of limited ammo, labyrinthine hallways, and jump scare bite animations plants a clear ancestral flag. Objectives mirror the movie but detour through Crichton's novel. Rescue Lex and Tim, reactivate power, reboot Nedry's sabotage systems, survive a pteranodon aviary absent from Spielberg's script. Motion sensor terminals double as save beacons, info kiosks, and door code dispensers. Once you collect the required eggs, numbers vary by zone. The final terminal in each area spits out a password like C37EF8D1. Scribble it down. The game offers no save slots. Misplace the scrap and you'll trek those jungles again, which is either old school discipline or cruel and unusual punishment depending on caffeine levels. A mini rant about UI friction. The inventory bar hides half your items behind microscopic arrows. Accidentally scroll past night vision goggles in a raptor nest, and the resulting sprint through darkness becomes a one-man found footage film. Complicating matters, Grant's sprite blends with the foliage like olive camouflage, so quick 180-degree turns can produce accidental leaps into river rapids. Yes, there's a current that drags you downstream toward piranha-infested waters. Non-canonical, sure, but thrilling the first 10 times. Speaking of rivers, Ocean included a raft section where you dodge rocks and plesiosaurs in pseudo-parallax scroll. It's brief, janky, and spectacularly dissonant, like discovering Outrun midway through Resident Evil, yet it showcases the team's willingness to shoehorn set pieces under impossible deadlines. A reminder that the Jurassic Park film itself was a patchwork of animatronics, CG, and last-minute edits. The game mirrors that chaos for better and worse. Legacy and influence reception at launch was as split as a spliced velociraptor genome. PC format praised the tension of the corridors but called the jungles lush yet lonely. Computer Gaming World ran 2 capsule reviews. One applauded cinematic atmosphere. The other grumbled about endless egg fetching. Aggregate nostalgia now hovers around 7.2 out of 10 on Moby Games. Respectable, if far below Ocean's earlier RoboCop cult status. Why no timeless acclaim? Timing chiefly. By the time the game reached many American shelves, Doom had taught PC audiences that first person could be fluid and violent, while XCOM delivered depth on floppies. Jurassic Park's slower, puzzle-gated design felt archaic in comparison. Its devotion to non-lethal realism also muted the visceral thrills gamers increasingly expected from the FPS viewpoint, a philosophical predecessor to System Shock's survival tension, but without that game's emergent systems. Yet the hybrid formula wasn't wasted. You can trace a DNA strand from Ocean's 3D corridors to Looking Glass's System Shock, 1994, then onward to the survival horror boom. The mandatory collectathon blueprint surfaces in everything from Banjo-Kazooie to Ubisoft's Radio Tower littered sandboxes. Meanwhile, the aviary set piece, lifted from Crichton's novel, re-entered pop canon in Jurassic Park 3rd. Did Ocean inspire Hollywood, or did Universal's internal cross-media memos overlap? Hard to say, but the echo remains. Inside Ocean itself, the project became a cautionary legend. Interviews reveal that scripting Spielberg-approved authenticity hamstrung late-game iteration. Adding bleed-out health meters or boss fights was vetoed lest they break canon. Future Ocean licenses, Waterworld anyone, swung back toward arcade spectacle. Proof that even kings of film tie-ins learn from a near-extinction event. For the broader industry, Jurassic Park demonstrated the double-edged sword of synchronous releases. Hit the window and you surf hype. Miss it by months and the pop culture meteor has already cratered the market. By 1994, Universal launched Jurassic Park Interactive on 3DO with glossy FMV, only to flop. Ocean's PC effort, less flashy but more coherent, has aged better in emulation because its sprite craft doesn't rely on 15 FPS QuickTime. Closing paragraph plus score. Booting Jurassic Park today is like prying open a piece of amber. Stunning at first glance, sticky as you poke deeper, housing a mosquito of design compromises that might still draw blood. Its jungles loop, its passwords taunt, its egg quotas strangle pacing, yet it nails something many licensed games miss. The nerve prick dread of being prey instead of predator. When a raptor bolts from a dim corridor and only 2 tranquilizer darts remain, I feel the same adrenaline spike that Spielberg captured with a mirror and a bathroom door. That alone grants value. So is it bizarre or classical? Both. Forever. Underrated or overrated? Time has shifted the scale toward under. Fundamental or forgettable? Fundamental in the sense that it fossilized an entire subgenre of hybrid survival design. My final verdict, 7.5 out of 10. A rough-edged relic worth excavating, if only to remind ourselves why great power outages always seem to coincide with collectible eggs, and why no one, digital or otherwise, should ever cut corners on raptor fences.